Lucas Giolito continued his reliable ways on Tuesday and is seeing his stock continue to climb. Giolito went 6 innings, gave up a pair of runs, and struck out 9 as the White Sox beat the Royals 4-2. The White Sox practiced some load management and rested Tim Anderson, but the offense got the job done anyway. Sox had 6 hits, and 5 of those were for extra bases. The White Sox turned to an inconsistent Lance Lynn on Wednesday to try to make it 2 in a row in Kansas City.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Sox fans, welcome to Locked On White Sox. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen each and every day. We're free and available on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter at Locked On Sox. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Locked On White Sox. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. A championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. So for parts that fit, head to eBay Motors and look for the green check. Stay in the game with eBay, a guaranteed fit. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay guaranteed fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Hey, I'm your host, Nick Morawski, a lifelong diehard Chicago White Sox fan, recording this podcast just blocks from the ballpark in beautiful Bridgeport. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Locked On White Sox is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Our Chicago White Sox take on the Kansas City Royals on Wednesday. Lance Lynn on the hill for the Sox. Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with Sirius XM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. Our Chicago White Sox improved to 13-24 on the season, 6.5 games back in the AL Central. So in 2022, of course, one of the most disappointing seasons in recent White Sox memory. After 37 games, the Sox were 18-19. Boy, I thought it was bad last year. But hey, this is the easy part of the schedule in May. Maybe the White Sox can continue these winning ways, maybe 10, 11 more times, maybe 12 more times, and we'll see where they're at then. Game 37, Sox beat the Royals 4-2. We'll get to the details in a little bit. Now, Grifol, after Monday's loss, which was a painful loss, this is what he had to say. This was a tough one. We accomplished some things that we wanted to get accomplished, which was to get ahead in the count, Grifol said. But when we got them on 2 strikes, we just couldn't put them away. They got about 7 hits with 2 strikes, 3 extra base hits, including a homer and a couple doubles. That was the game right there. Yeah, the Royals were absolutely prepared to hit mistakes on Monday. Talked about it in the previous episode. It's got to be a competitive pitch on 0-2, but a team that has scouted well, they could have a sense of what might be coming on an 0-2 pitch, especially if they've recognized a pitcher's in-game tendencies and can adapt. But look, at the end of the day, Cease missed his spots on Monday, and Royals made him pay. Royals had good at-bats on Monday, especially the lefties against Bummer. So on Tuesday here, you had no Tim Anderson in the lineup, which was kind of odd. They talked about it in the pregame show, NBC Sports Chicago. Ozzie, of course, spoke his mind, as well as Scotty Pods and Chuck. Pretty confusing. Grifol gave a message, but what is it? Workload management with Tim Anderson still. They're kind of babying his legs because they're not quite there. Is it rehabbing on the fly while with the big league club? There's some urgency here. Is Grifol talked about before Wednesday's game. He said, we can't continue to dig ourselves an even deeper hole. We have to make a move here soon. We've had opportunities to do that. We just have to take advantage of them. The key is to continue to play hard, get our guys healthy, and when they get them all healthy, stay healthy. Yeah, not a bad regurgitation of his typical banter there, but he forgot to mention about the importance of warmer weather in that big off-season strategy. You just need better luck. Sox absolutely have to make a move here. They need to go on in just a stretch, 10 to 12 games. No more moral victories like White Sox, winning the 2 out of 3 approach. Sox need wins, and a lot of them. Resting Tim Anderson, I just didn't get it. I just absolutely didn't get it. You need everybody, all hands on deck. Grifol recently talked about Jake Burger's importance and essentially workload management again. He said, I see Jake as a part of this ball club. He's got value to us, not only power value, but he also has value against left-handed pitching. That's why Eloy playing the outfield is really important to us, not all the time, but at times. It allows Jake to get into the DH spot as well. And when we give Moncada a break at third, Jake can go over there as well and play some first to give Vaughn a break. Some of these guys have been playing every single day. They should be playing every single day, especially now. We need everybody if we're going to dig ourselves out of this hole. Grifol said Moncada won't be back this Kansas City series, but probably will return for the homestand. If he's back, I just hope he plays consistently. No more easing him back into the lineup. We'll play you a couple games and then we'll rest you and then play. If he's going to be back, he needs to stay in the lineup. Sox, again, need absolutely all hands on deck here. The recent power rankings came out via The Athletic. No surprise, the White Sox in 26th. According to The Athletic and all of baseball. And this was the write-up here. The White Sox are on pace for 105 losses, and they have more problems than can be explained away by an injured list. But the extended infirmary attendance is certainly not helping. Jimenez is the most recent addition to the IL with his appendectomy of all things. At least Tim Anderson is back from a left sore knee. Didn't play, of course, on Tuesday, workload management. But at the plate, the player Chicago currently misses most might be Burger with a left oblique, whose 924 OPS and 7 homers through 77 plate appearances put him on track to replace the lost production that followed Jose Abreu out of the door. Who would have imagined that? Jake Burger replacing Jose Abreu. On the mound, Hendricks, who has been away from the game while undergoing cancer treatment, is nearing his return, which is wonderful and much needed. But this carousel of injuries won't last forever. Will it? And that is a perfect way to sum up that piece there in The Athletic, because that is exactly what, in my mind, the front office kind of betted on this coming season. We cannot have lightning strike twice for us. We had all those injuries in 2022, had some in 2021, but the pitching was really solid in 2021. There's no way we can go through this again. We're going to bet on luck. We're going to bet on health. We're going to hope. We're going to have guys return to accustomed levels. So it's not just a sluggish start by these White Sox. This is how it went in the offseason, and I bought into it. You heard me on this podcast probably early in January and into February. It's like, okay, I will listen to this plan. I will buy into it. This is what you're selling me, Rick Hahn and front office. I will buy it. Okay. But as soon as it starts going belly up, then it's going to be time to point out, all the blind spots, all the problems of, just not going after some solid backup players, some solid utility guys, some depth. You need that because, you're only strongest as your weakest link, and you're going to have injuries. It's not just the Sox, it's every team. And next man up, they need to produce for this White Sox team. So, we'll see if Moncada is truly back. And if he's back, he stays in the lineup. And what will happen with Jake Berger? Gavin Sheets needs to get his at-bats as well. Andrew Vaughn's got to be playing regularly. Look what happened to him on Tuesday. It seems like his swing is coming around. So a lot of questions. Yes, it revolves around health, but when these guys come back onto the club, they have to play consistently. Lucas Giolito had another solid outing that featured some tense moments. Sox offense flexed the muscle. More on that in a moment. Today's episode is brought to you by Sorare. Our new sponsor, Sorare, is a revolutionary fantasy baseball game and marketplace transforming fans into owners with officially licensed digital cards featuring players from across all 30 MLB teams. Unlike other fantasy baseball platforms, Sorare managers truly own their fantasy experience, collecting, buying, selling, and competing with player cards across global opponents to win epic rewards. Win or lose, you still own your cards, and there's no cost to play. Plus, the more you win, the more you advance, collecting increasingly powerful cards and accessing next-level competition and rewards. Head to sorare.com/lockedon. That's spelled SORARE.com to draft your team of free player cards, set your lineup, and start competing today to win epic rewards. Again, that's sorare.com/lockedon to start playing today. The White Sox will take on the Kansas City Royals on Wednesday, Game 3. Lance Lynn on the hill. Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with Sirius XM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. Our Southsiders took care of business, beating the Royals 4-2. Giolito was on the hill. I mean, the most reliable and consistent pitcher for the White Sox these days, and he lived up to the reputation. I was tracking his approach during the game when he got to 2 strikes and seeing what he did, to those hitters opposed to what Cease was doing. And again, Cease might have had a plan. He just didn't execute it, missed his spot, stayed in the zone. I wanted to see what Giolito, maybe there was a different plan. Maybe Ethan Katz had a new plan for Sox pitching against the Royals that, they make a lot of contact, they swing. And so just so you know, that's kind of where my mind was at as I was watching this game. There was a 2-hour rain delay, so it kind of turned into a West Coast game. Bottom of the first, we'll go there. Giolito gave up a home run to Pasquantino. It was quickly 1-0 Royals. Early home runs have been an issue for Giolito when he is off. Only threw 9 pitches, though, in the first inning. Top of second, Sox went down in order. It was actually 6 up, 6 down for Royals pitcher Lyles. Bottom of second, Giolito had an 0-2 count on Melendez. Eventually, it was 1-2, then a rising fastball to get the strikeout. I think he was out of the zone. That was a nice job of throwing something they weren't expecting, probably waiting on a changeup. Giolito did not let the previous inning, giving up that home run snowball, made quick work of the Royals in the second. Top of third, Jordan Lyles on the hill for the Royals. 8 starts on the year coming into the game on Tuesday. Had an 0-5 record with a 6.69 ERA. Sox went 9 up, 9 down after 3 innings. If you've watched a lot of White Sox baseball, you know that Sox hitters can sometimes take a pitcher that's been scuffling and turn him into Cy Young. I was worried about that early on. Bottom third, Giolito had Nate Eaton 1-2. A very nice changeup on the outside. Good movement on his changeup. Giolito's 4th strikeout of the night. Gio had Bobby Witt Jr. 0-2. Froze him with a fastball on the outside corner, mixing things up. 5th strikeout of the game. Royals seemed to be guessing wrong, and Gio was making quality pitches. So early on, he was, kind of tempting them out of the zone. And I really think they were looking for more changeups, and Gio was going fastball as an out pitch. Top of 4, Luis Robert Jr. Breaks the streak of 11 up, 11 down, destroys a cement mixer to left. 1-1. Sheets added a 2-out double. Only 2 baseballs hit beyond the infielders at this point for the White Sox. Bottom 4, Gio had 2 strikes on Pasquantino. Got away with the mistake, and Luis Robert Jr. handled it in center. Gio threw a hanging breaking ball on a 1-2 count to Salvi Perez, and that also thankfully stayed in the park. Gio had 45 pitches after 4 innings, only gave up 1 hit, the solo home run in the first. Top of 5, Bobby Witt Jr. made an absolutely amazing diving stop at shortstop and threw out Hanser Alberto. Had another solid play on an Elvis Andrus ground ball. Lyles was on cruise control at this point. So we'll go bottom 5th. KC had their leadoff hitter on. Hanser can't make a play at third. Couldn't get the ball out of his glove in time. Runners at second and first. Nobody out. Most traffic on the bases for Giolito all game. Gio had Freddie Fermin on a 1-2 count. He went upstairs out of the zone, and then a beautiful changeup at the bottom of the zone for his 6th strikeout. Mixing up the eye levels, Jackie Bradley Jr. was down in the count 0-2. Changeup low out of the zone, then high fastball and struck him out. You can sense a pattern between Sebi and Gio. Hopefully, I was just saying, I wonder if Dylan Cease is watching this from the dugout and how Gio and Sebi are working through this game when they got 2 strikes on a guy. High fastball out of the zone to Eaton, who was down in the count 1-2, then completely handcuffed him with a fastball on the inner half. Gio struck out the side. Top of 6, third time through the order for the White Sox here, Lenyn Sosa with a leadoff double. Check swing dribbler by Benintendi that advanced Sosa to third. Not at all how you would draw it up, but it worked. It did not matter, though, because Andrew Vaughn mashed a sinker that did not sink to left. 2-run home run. Sox up 3-1. Bottom 6, boy, this was a gutsy inning for Giolito. 63 pitches on his arm to start the inning. A changeup was effective, but he had Bobby Witt Jr. 0-2, and Gio tried to sneak an outside fastball past him. Witt took it down the right field line for a leadoff triple. Pasquantino flipped one to left field. Witt scored 3-2 Sox. That seemed to rattle Gio a little bit. He had Salvi 2-2, and Gio got him to chase a slider in the dirt. KC had 2 on, 1 out. Katz made a visit. Gio had a 1-2 count on Melendez. Went low with a changeup, then high out of the zone. Missed on a low changeup. Walked 2 straight batters. Bases were loaded with 1 out. He had Dozer 2-0. Gio got him to pop out. Big situation with Fermin up. Elvis threw some leather at shortstop. Inning over. Very nice job by Giolito to leave the game with a lead. Top of 7, Alberto with a double. Hanser's been swinging the bat well lately. Zavala with a base hit. Ended up on second. It was 4-2 Sox at that point. Nice insurance run there. The more runs you can get with this bullpen, even though the bullpen was solid, we'll talk about them in a little bit. It was nice to see them tack a few on there. Bottom 7, Kelly in the game. Efficient inning from him. No drama. Hit 100 miles per hour for an inning-ending strikeout. Kelly's last 3 outings actually have been solid. Bottom of the 8th was Ronaldo Lopez pumping it 100 miles per hour. It was a 1-2-3 inning. And then bottom 9, it was Kendall Graveman's opportunity. 3 pop-ups in the inning. Game over. Giolito's final line: 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, just 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. Gave up that first inning home run. His ERA 3.59. Bullpen, 3 innings, 0 hits, 0 walks, 2 strikeouts. Sox offense, 4 runs, just 6 hits. Home runs by Robert and Vaughn. Sheets, Sosa, and Alberto each had a double. So 5 of the 6 hits were for extra bases. Sox were 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Sox did not draw a walk. No surprise there. They struck out 6 times. I have no idea what version of Lance Lynn we will see on Wednesday. He has been really the opposite of Lucas Giolito, up and down. It's been a roller coaster 2023 for him after World Baseball Classic. Sox offense might need more than 4 runs in Game 3. More on that in a moment. So Wednesday, it's up to Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn has an 8-3 record with an ERA of 3.32 and 80 strikeouts in 14 appearances against the Royals in his career. In 3 appearances, Lynn was 2-1 against the Royals last season. His lone outing in Kauffman Stadium in 2022 was a rough one. 6 innings, 4 earned runs, gave up 2 home runs. That's been a problem for Lynn. He's been giving up the long ball. This is what he's been doing lately. Lance Lynn has a 1-4 record with an ERA of 6.86 and 50 strikeouts in 7 appearances this season. His last outing, Lynn got the win in Cincinnati, but he gave up 8 hits and 4 earned runs in 6 2/3 of an inning, 0 walks, which is great, and 8 strikeouts, impressive. Before Cincinnati, though, his previous 3 outings were absolutely forgettable. Honestly, I would say the 2023 season has been a disappointment for him. He had that great outing against Tampa Bay where he took a no-hitter into the 7th, but that's really been it. I expected much more for Lance Lynn. So many great things that he was saying. Again, it was just words, but positive stuff throughout the off season, heading into spring training of the World Baseball Classic, ramping up. He felt good, felt healthy, thought it was going to get him ready for the season, and it's just it really just hasn't. He hasn't looked comfortable. Again, that outing against Tampa, but giving up way too many long balls, way too many stuff is hanging in the zone. It'll be interesting to see how Lance Lynn operates when he gets 2 strikes on these Royals hitters, because they are tough to put away. Cease saw that. I like the adjustments. I'm wondering how much went into that between Giolito, Katz, and Zavala when it came to Tuesday. They saw what happened to Cease. Royals free swinging, and they went, I don't know, they maybe went with a plan that was perhaps going against what they thought the Royals might be guessing. Giolito used his changeup and it was working and it had movement, but I felt like Gio's fastball, when he was pointing it and was able to pinpoint it on the outside corners and got guys to chase high out of the zone, that was very effective for him on Tuesday. Again, Gio's stock continues to rise. We know the rumors. We've heard the stuff about, the Sox are just not going to sign him past this season. And if the season goes in the way that it's kind of been going, and the Sox are out of it by July or after the All-Star break, they're looking to deal Giolito. So, I mean, again, that was from the Bob Nightingale article this past Sunday in USA Today. So you want, I guess, Giolito's stock to rise for several different reasons. The better he pitches, the better things go for the White Sox in those games. And I guess if they're not going to sign him after the season and we're absolutely in the cellar with no hope by, mid-July, late July, then, I guess you're going to have to flip him. So keeping an eye on Giolito, we're going to do that. Hopefully a few of these other White Sox starters can join what he's been doing and pitching some reliable, consistent outings. Going 6, maybe 7 would be nice as well. Sox go for 2 in a row against the Royals on Wednesday with Lance Lynn on the hill. Thank you so very much for making this podcast part of your daily routine. You can find the Locked On White Sox podcast absolutely everywhere you find your podcast. We are on Twitter at Locked On Sox. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Pass it along to other White Sox fans in your life. And if you've got questions, if you've got comments, shoot them over to lockedonsox@gmail.com. We're due to have another mailbag episode, I think, in the near future here. White Sox take on the Royals. Lance Lynn on the hill. Catch every pitch of the White Sox hometown broadcast with Sirius XM on the SXM app. Search White Sox. Thanks for making Locked On White Sox your first listen every day. Hey, everydayers, on the next episode, I will recap Lance Lynn's outing and hopefully be celebrating a White Sox winner. Appreciate you making time for the Locked On White Sox podcast. I'm Nick Morawski. Until next time, go Sox.